Did you know that superannuation assets in Australia total well over $3 trillion? That's a lot of money in anyone's language. No wonder that super has become one of the major political weapons to win voters, get more power, and play the economy and the budget by governments. Constant changes in super system only creates confusion and requires keeping up with ongoing changes. But I guess as long as those changes are for our benefit, we should be happy, right? The new financial year 21-22 will see some of the biggest changes in superannuation system again. Some of those changes I explained in my video Federal Budget 21-22 for pre and post retirement. It is really worth listening to. And today I will go over changes that will affect you if your super is in the accumulation stage. And next week we'll discuss changes to be introduced to pension funds that will affect retirees. So make sure you come back next week to catch up with me right here again. My name is Katherine Isbrandt. I'm certified financial planner and you are watching About Retirement TV, the place to find out all the information you need to implement smart financial strategies if you are planning to retire in a few years or if you have already retired. Let's check what has our government invented this time when it comes to our superannuation funds. So grab a cup of coffee, I have mine ready right here, and let's start. Number 1, more super paid by your employer. The superannuation guarantee is to be increased from 9.5% to 10% on 1st July 2021. This is the percentage of your wage that your employer has to contribute to your super. Superannuation guarantee contributions have been frozen at 9.5% since 2014, despite having been originally scheduled to reach the 12% mark by 1st July 2019. Well, so we are really behind, but it is positive to see that we are starting some kind of the progress. Increase is scheduled to be annual by 0.5% until it reaches 12% in 2025. The worry, however, is that due to impact of COVID, many businesses may find this additional contribution of great financial stress for them, which in turn could lead to lack of growth of wages, but that remains to be seen. Number 2, your super will follow you when you change jobs. This is what the government calls stapling. From 1st July 2021, your super fund will automatically follow you when you change jobs. The government argues this change will stop creation of multiple superannuation accounts and increase your super balance. Most employees in Australia can choose their super fund for employer contributions as well as their personal concessional and non-concessional contributions, but many end up using a super fund that is chosen by their employer, so-called default super funds, and that includes my super funds, which are very basic super products with low fees. Employees who want to keep their old super fund when starting a new job generally have to fill out a form to advise their new employer of this choice. My suggestion is have your chosen fund. In most cases, my super funds are too basic to accommodate for your real needs in terms of good performance, asset allocation, diversification, or even insurance. Otherwise, you might get stuck with a low-performing fund with inadequate insurance cover, which are an essential part of financial planning. The benefit of stapling is avoidance of duplication of funds, hence duplication of fees. However, sometimes there are reasons to have an alternative super. There is no such thing as one size fits all. According to Industry Super Australia, the risk of stapling is that millions of members will end up with inferior super fund. So it is your responsibility to choose the best fund for you. Do your research, get professional advice. We are all different. We have different needs in different stages of life. Hence, we all seek different benefits from our super. As I said, there is no one super on the market that will be the best for all of us. It is essential to get it right, so don't accept just a default. Make your own decision. If you don't know how to choose your super fund, watch series of my videos that explain all you need to know about types of superannuation funds in Australia, basic rules, tax, contributions, and some tricks of the trade. So what is really happening when you change your job? Well, your employer must find out from the Australian Tax Office, ATO, if you have an existing superannuation fund, and then make all super payments to that account unless you notify your employer otherwise. If you don't have super fund and you don't inform your new employer of your choice, at that point your employer is allowed to create on your behalf an account with its nominated default superannuation fund. Number 3, greater transparency about how your retirement savings are invested. Another part of super reforms includes a requirement for every super fund administrator to provide details about their investing decisions. They also have to justify their expenses and how they meet the new best financial interest duty test. What that means is that super fund trustees must meet this test for its members within all its activity. Number 4, naming, shaming super funds underperformance. Super funds will also undergo an annual performance test, with results being made public on the government website. Funds that fail that test in 2 consecutive years will be blocked from accepting new members. The government will introduce an online portal that will rank My Super products by fees and investment returns, so you will be able to check where your current super sits. You also might be prompted to consolidate your super if you have more than one account. But as I said before, in most cases, it is a good advice, but sometimes there are reasons why you might consider having more than one account. The testing regime will begin with My Super products from July 2021 and expand to all superannuation products from July 2022. So what do you think? Is it a good idea to introduce this new system? At first glance, it appears as a good measure, as super funds will have to act for your best interest, pay attention to fees and performance. However, this puts a lot of pressure on investment industry and super funds. No super fund wants to be named the worst fund. It is a very well-known fact that active investing is more expensive than passive investing. By introducing those 2 measures, fees justification, naming and shaming, most super funds, in order not to be on a bad super fund list, will step back from dynamic investing. They will stop looking for tomorrow's winners, they will stop looking for great investment opportunities, and instead conservatively invest in yesterday's heroes. As super funds will stop to try to outperform, as it carries the risk, costs more, but can reward with exceptional returns. So really, we can all expect what I call vanilla returns. What is even more concerning is the fact of the impact this change in super funds investment activity will have on our economy. But somehow it appears our government cannot connect the dots that this $3 trillion economy has an enormous impact on boosting our overall economy growth and dynamism. So basically, by introducing this new best financial interest test, you might save few dollars a year in fees, but you will miss out on good performance that could increase your super balance by thousands of dollars over time. I wonder if you agree or disagree with me here. Let me know in the comments below the video. And while you're at it, subscribe to my channel so you don't miss my next controversial video. So let's now talk about some good news for a change. Number 5, non-concessional contribution bring-forward rule. The 3-year non-concessional bring-forward contributions are being extended to age 67, with commencement on 1st July 2021, but will be implemented retrospectively to 1st July 2020. This type of contribution can be very beneficial when you are nearing your retirement, so I will create a separate video explaining it in details. Please make sure you don't confuse bring-forward contributions with catch-up contributions. I have a video explaining all the benefits of catch-up contributions, so check it out. Number 6, removal of excess contributions charge. Until now, if you contributed more than allowable concessional contribution limit of $25,000, which includes your employer contributions, the excess amount was taxed at your marginal tax rate plus an additional penalty charge. The idea now is to still add the excess concessional contribution to your personal assessable income and tax it at your personal marginal tax rate, but with no penalty. And what's more, you will be entitled for the non-refundable tax offset at 15% tax rate, which is superannuation contribution tax rate. This is a very positive step, as the mistake of over-contributing is very easily done, especially due to the fact that concessional contribution limit includes your employer contributions. And if, for example, your income varies from week to week, it would be very difficult to keep track of all your employer contributions, especially if you also have a salary sacrifice arrangement with your employer. Number 7, COVID-19 recontribution. If you were in unfortunate situations of having to apply for early super withdrawal under the former COVID-19 conditions of release in 2020-21, you will be allowed to recontribute these amounts back to your superannuation fund as a non-concessional contribution without this contribution being counted towards your non-concessional contribution cap. But this recontribution is only allowed between 1st July 2021 and 30th June 2030. So, as you can see, the government allowed 9 years for you to get back on your feet, save up, recontribute money back to super that should have stayed in a superannuation for the purpose of your retirement. My huge recommendation is to take advantage of this recontribution opportunity. Number 8, increase of number of members in self-managed super funds. Current rules state that the number of members in self-managed super fund has to be less than 5. However, from 1st July, this will change to up to 6 members, which will allow bigger families to accommodate more members in one fund. Be careful, however, if your state rules only permit up to 4 individuals as trustees of your fund. For example, this is the case in New South Wales. If this affects you, consider a corporate trustee to avoid the problem. So let's recap key takeaways for you when it comes to super in 2021. Number 1, increase of superannuation guarantee contributions to 10%. Good news for your retirement savings, most likely bad news for your wage increase, and a very bad news for small business with cash flow problems, which might lead to letting some stuff go. Number 2, super stapling. This will help to keep one super account, even if changing employment, but may impact your long-term super performance if you don't choose your fund wisely. Number 3, best financial interest test for trustees of super fund to explain their fees. This will create super funds to lower their fees to justify them, but the outcome will be lower service and lower investment choices. The old saying, you get what you pay for, will truly be very relevant here. Number 4, naming and shaming non-performing super funds. This will be detrimental for super and investment industry and ultimately your good long-term performance of the fund. So I think, honestly, this is a terrible idea. Number 5, non-concessional contribution bring-forward rule. Great idea to extend the age to 67. That will allow so many more pre-retirees be better prepared for their long retirement due to our greater life expectancy. Number 6, removal of the excess concessional contribution charge. I'm really thankful for introduction of this removal of the charge, as I have seen many unintended mistakes that were still subject to penalties. So let's give the government the credit when credit is due. Number 7, COVID-19 recontributions. You have time now to recontribute the amount of money you have withdrawn from your super during COVID. So take advantage of this change and recontribute that money back to super, otherwise you will never catch up with lost earnings. Number 8, increase of number of members in self-managed super fund. Great news for big families that can extend their super membership up to 6 in their self-managed super fund. So which of those newly introduced measures you like the most, and which one will bring you the greatest benefit? Please share with us below the video. And if you have a question or another comment, don't be shy. Let me know in the comments as well. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, subscribe, and tell your friends to watch my videos, as they might be just as helpful for them as they are for you. Also, feel free to check my website about retirement.com.au for even more information all about retirement. And now review those superannuation videos I mentioned before. Lots of detailed information, lots of strategies, and lots of great advice. The second video is the most popular in the Age Pension series, 9 ways to hide money from Centrelink. Enjoy, bye!